Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Just to let you know, I'm still sick, so my voice isn't going to be the greatest, and you may or may not hear some coughing throughout any of the videos I make this weekend, so please bear with me. But today we're going to be talking about friendship. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons, so let's get to it. Pros, okay. Let's talk about our leads here. Tim Robinson, what has he been in? Just Friendship, at least in the movies? Okay, well, don't need to talk about him. Again, very much talk about his co-star, Mr. Paul Rudd, man that refuses to age normally because this man's been basically looked the same since like the mid-90s. He's like 56, I don't know I guess he just has the fountain of youth, some variation of it. But yeah, it's basically looked the same since Clueless back in '95. But yeah, most of his career, he's basically been like a supporting role type of guy. You know, movies like Anchorman and 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up. And then what else? There's Role Models. There's I Love You Man. Although that he was a co-lead in that. Uh, no one even remembers Jennifer Schmucks. So I see this is 40, Anchorman 2. Ant-Man, though, he was the lead in that because he was, Scott Lang. And that definitely, increased his box office resume by quite a bit. Being involved in the MCU, being involved in Ant-Man and Civil War. We had a standout moment in that movie. I don't know if I count Infinity War. Well, he really wasn't there because he was busy dealing with stuff with Ant-Man 2. And in Endgame, he was there. He's the reason the whole plot even happened in that movie. Um, and then he's in recent Ghostbusters movies, Afterlife and Frozen Empire. Now here we are with Friendship. So people know damn well who Paul Rudd is, thanks to his work in a lot of comedies in the MCU. So people know who he is, and yeah, obviously that's going to be a pro. Is anyone else in this cast I would recognize? Kate Mara, I recognize her. Yeah, I very much recognize her. She's 42. I didn't realize she was that. Wow. She does not look that old. Like, oh, okay. Learn something new every day. But yeah, Kate Mara. Oh my god, Zoom. Oh no. Zoom, not related to, we do like, web meetings and shit like that. No, this was like the shitty X-Men knockoff where Kate Mara's character was literally, a dollar store Jean Grey. That's literally her character. I wish I was making that up, but no, that's what happened. Yeah, it's a movie with Tim Allen. Don't watch. It's bad. It's a movie I only remember because I watched as a kid and I didn't know better. Oh god, another banger right here. Fan Four Stick. Oh, oh god. Yeah, Fan Four Stick, just bad. It's historically bad. We'll see if Fantastic Four First Steps, erases any memory of Fan Four Stick come July. We'll see. But yeah, Fan Four Stick, don't watch that. Uh, what else? Let's see The Martian. That's an actual good movie. um, not much really after that, but maybe she's recognizable. But unfortunately, I recognize her because of Fan Four Stick. Not exactly something you want to be recognized for obvious reasons. But I guess we got some recognizable faces, particularly in the form of Paul Rudd here. So I'll label him as a pro. Another pro, reviews for this movie are pretty darn good. 89% critic score, 80% audience score. That's fine. Just generally okay. So yeah, word of mouth across the board is good. It's rock solid. So that's a pro. Another pro. Um okay, so limited run has gone really good actually. Way better than most limited runs I've talked about on this channel in recent memory. Because it opened in 6 theaters like 2 weeks ago. And it had a per theater average of 75K. I'm like, yes, that is a per theater average that is good, and that losing my train of thought. That's per theater average that gets attention, that gets headlines. But okay, this movie has some demand for it, going for it. And then the following week, where it expanded to 60 theaters, still had a solid per theater average of 23K. It entered the top 10, 1.4 million, which is also really good. So it's literally made like $2 million in like 60 theaters. I say that's pretty remarkable in this day and age. So yeah, I would definitely label its limited run a success. So that's a pro. And I think that's really it. Well, I guess another pro is that there's a lack of real direct competition for this, because this movie, it's a comedy, but it's like a dark-ish comedy. I only seen the trailer like one time, and that's when I watched Warfare back in April. So yeah, but it has like this dark comedic like undertone to it. But it's really nothing else like it out there at the moment. I don't think there's gonna be anything even close to this for like a minute. So in terms of direct competition, there really isn't anything. So I'll label that as a pro. Okay, this is this isn't a pro or a con, but A24. Okay, A24. I've talked about them too much. They have a lot of hits under their belt, a lot of successes. That I've talked about plenty of times. Everything Ever All at Once, Civil War, Uncut Gems, Lady Bird, Hereditary, Talk to Me, Moonlight, Midsommar, Ex Machina, blah blah blah. But recently they've had more. I've noticed they have more misses than hits. So like the scale has leaned towards like the wrong way. Especially this year, it's been kind of for them. They've yet to have like a real strong performer. I mean, Warfare is technically one of their bigger movies, but by itself, it's not really a hit, even though I thought it was really good. But, what can you do? I mean, The Brutalist was a relative hit, for what it was. I mean, it only cost, I think it was like $6 million, maybe like 50 mil. So that was a success. But Death of a Unicorn, that was a bust. Legend of Ochi, that was very much a bust. Opus, same thing. And Death of a Unicorn, Friendship, they both share Paul Rudd, so that's not a great sign. But their potential hit, they might have one next week in the form of Bring Her Back, potentially. We'll see. I'm very much looking forward to that movie, but who knows how that'll do. The A24's track record, I mean, they have a lot of hits, but recently it's not been the greatest. So I'm going to have to not label their presence as an automatic pro anymore. So they're just more middle ground at this point. Okay, cons. Okay, the big con with this movie is like when it's not really with the movie itself, but when exactly the movie's coming out. Because this weekend, competition is rather intense. Okay, because this weekend is about two movies, really one movie, but two: Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. Those two movies are making big money. Lilo and Stitch is making stupidly big money, to the point where this Memorial Day weekend is projected to be the biggest ever. Like, that's how big we're talking. Like, this is some serious shit. So because of those two movies and all the attention is going towards those movies, every other movie may or may not suffer greatly this weekend. And I think Friendship might unfortunately be a victim. But who knows? Maybe it's one of those high tide lifts all boats type situations where everyone's just going to go to the theater, just because. We saw that a lot in April. That's the reason why April was such a huge success after the absolute embarrassment that was March. So, but still having like these big movies, like two big movies come out same time, because they're gonna take up all the screens, all the theaters, all that. That's a problem. So yeah, just intense competition. I'll label that as a con. And I don't know. I think that's really it. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of like real cons. So opening weekend, this is only in like 1,000 theaters, which isn't like a lot really. So I gotta label it as a con too. It's low theater count for like its wide launch. So I guess that's a con too. But anywho, opening weekend, I guess I gotta do 3 day and 4 day because it is a holiday. Um, I don't know. Okay, this made like 1.4 million in 60 theaters. You think in like opening in 1,000 theaters, I mean, its box office is gonna like increase by quite a bit. Not really. I've noticed that just because the movie like increases high in theater count doesn't mean the box office is gonna increase the same amount. So I'm gonna have to be more realistic here. I'm gonna say an opening weekend between maybe 3 million, I guess, for 3 day, and 4 day probably 3 to 4 million. So you know what? 3 day of 2 to 3 million, 4 day 3 to 4 million. Final total. I can see this having a relatively long life. I can definitely see this being a sleeper hit. It has that potential. But will it live up to said potential? I don't know. But the next few weeks will determine that. But I think it could hit 10 million at the rate it's going. I think it could hit double digits at least. So I'm going to say 10 million final total. And yeah, that's it for Friendship. Okay, we got 3 more movies to talk about. Yes, there's another movie that's decided to release ahead of this showdown between Stitch and Tom Cruise. That movie being The Last Rodeo. We got to talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the heavy hitters in the form of Lilo and Stitch in Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. So yeah, stay tuned for those videos. But yeah, so that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. We'll check out more videos like this. I got playlists on the homepage, all previous prediction videos I made this year, the past few years. You want to watch any of them, you can go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. May recap, that will be the second weekend of June, more like the second weekend of June. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Never talked never talked about Friendship like ever in that series. So yeah, you want to watch all 250 episodes of Cancel. You want to binge watch that whole series from beginning to end. I highly suggest you do that, so go do it. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.